Thank you so much, Ying, Ryan, and Professor Kim for joining the info session. I'm going to be sharing my screen so we can have access to the slides. Also, my name is Rosa. I'm the Students Affairs Manager of the BME department, and we're very happy to have you all here. So let's get started. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. As you all know, we are in the PhD Biomedical Engineering info session. Here, we'll have different people covering different areas of the application process, requirements of the program, student life. So we have Professor Lance Cam, who is the chair of the graduate student studies, myself, which I am the senior manager, academic and students affairs at BME. We have Ryan, who is a PhD student and also the president of Go BME. And we have Ying representing the admissions office. I'll leave it up to Professor Cam to cover the following slides, and then we'll take turns.
Okay, so next slide, please. Great to meet everybody. Hi, yes, my name is Lance Cam. I'm a faculty with biomedical engineering. I am chair of the graduate studies program over here, which means that we'll be interacting a lot over your course of the doctoral studies with us. My biggest joy of this thing, though, is to really introduce you and thank you for coming today. On behalf of all the faculty of BME, thank you for your interest in our department. You can tell we're a very fun bunch over here. Our current chair, Paul Scheida, kind of in the back over there, calls us the BME family, and it really is true. This is one of the biggest strengths we have. It's a good sized faculty. We get to know each other. The students get to know each other very well. And this is one of the big draws that we have. So on behalf of the faculty, welcome to the info session. Next slide. Welcome to our home. We are in New York City, the epicenter of many things over the past couple of years, and it's an exciting place to be. We have Broadway, we have biotech, we have the Yankees who could use some more supporters tonight, so please cheer them on. Also, we have Taylor Swift in our city and things too. There's a lot of things here that contribute to an energy that both drives us and enriches what we do. So where are we in New York City? This is a view from the bottom of Manhattan. As you go further up, over Central Park, you see the one on the bottom is our main campus, the Morningside Heights campus. This is where the main office for biomedical engineering is. This is where all the movies of Columbia University are taken and things on our main campus. So it's a wonderful place to be. It's compact. You have a lot of things happening around there to interact with. Way up at the top, we have part of our department, which is at our medical campus, and this is where a lot of the newest techniques, newest things to work with. These are housed over there and have access to a very diverse patient population. If you want to interact with the wide swath of humanity in developing your biomedical skills, this is the place to be. The third campus we have is in the middle, Manhattanville. This is a relatively new one. That right now has a Mind-Brain Behavior Institute as part of its campus, and we are looking in the time scale of the next couple of years to breaking ground on a new engineering campus in that site as well. So this is where we are. Why come here? Next slide. These are numbers about where we're ranked number 10 as a department. Top 10s, we're very proud of that. But more importantly, these other numbers of faculty, again, it's a good sized number of faculty. We know each other, our labs know each other. We interact, we don't just share equipment, we share ideas, we work together. Within that, our student community is undergrad, we have about 100, master's about 200, and about an equal number of doctoral students, which would be the group that you would be joining. We have significant funding, and a great number of startups have come up from our studies. Next slide. Again, really, the thing I think our biggest strength is the range of research that we had. We started in 2000 with a handful of faculty, about 5, and we've grown. And we started in these areas of biomechanics, imaging, biomaterials, and cell tissue engineering in the left column. Since then, we've kind of grown to about just under 30 faculty. We've added things in cardiac, neuro, immune, and most recently cancer, taking a wide range of different approaches. Imaging, big data, single cell sequencing, all these techniques are blended in across all these different areas. and then also applied to things like entrepreneurship, robotics, point of care diagnostics, and more recently, machine learning and AI. We have this represented across our faculty in our research, and our students are really taking this to the next level. Next slide, please. What do I mean by the next level? We do have a rich entrepreneurism environment here. Within the Columbia community itself, we have a number of commercialization efforts. These include boot camps on how to present to venture capital, which will lead to pilot funding to help take your idea from the laboratory to interacting with the environment. Next slide. And the environment that we do have, even within New York City itself, within New York City itself, we have a large number of medical centers, which again reaches across a very diverse community. It's a very fascinating cross section of humanity to work with. Next slide, please. In addition to biotech, we have a great community. You'll be hearing later from GoBME. This is our graduate organization that kind of brings together the graduate community of the graduate students. You'll be hearing from Ryan a little bit later on all the programming that they are doing. Our department also has an opportunities and engagement committee, which has additional events that are going on to introduce you to things like jazz on the Upper West Side, some of the historic places and things that New York City brings to music and other cultural aspects of the area. These are great ways to really take advantage of the New York community. Next slide, please. I'm going to wrap it up here to let you folks talk to hear from the next people, but please keep in contact. Our main webpage, the bme.columbia.edu. This will have the latest news on our faculty. This will have latest news on latest profiles on some students who are highlighting their work. We also have things like tissue talks you see in the bottom of that one there. This is a weekly webinar hosted by Professor Gordana Vunjak-Novakovic, who brings people to talk in the online format. It's a weekly one that allows you to find more about what we're doing and what the BME community is doing at large. So in the last slide over here, thank you for joining today. Graduation is coming for you faster than you may appreciate. It's going to happen very soon. So an early congratulations to all of you. Is BME the right place for your career? Again, go back to our webpage, keep in contact with us, reach out to faculty as you're going through this process. I offer, as my last slide on here, the one on the bottom right, these are our doctoral students who graduated. And I would like to emphasize that the folks on the right, the ones who are smiling, are all from the BME department. So again, welcome today. I'll be here to answer more questions as we go along, and welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Cam. I also want to highlight that we do have a Q&A going on. So if you go at the bottom of your screen, you can submit questions and we'll go through them at the end of the presentation or as we continue to share information with you today. Rosa, once again, I'm the Students Affairs Manager, so I'll also be with you along the process if you are a part of our BME PhD cohort to make sure that you have all the support that you need to complete all your requirements and graduate. So what are the doctoral degree requirements? So here you have a little bit of a timeline of the things that take place once you enter the program as a PhD student. In your first year, you would be focusing on your coursework and research. On your second year, you continue your coursework and research, but you're also applying to take your qualifying exam, which we'll go into detail a little bit more later on in the presentation. And you would also be getting your master's in the spring semester if you are part of the MS PhD track. On the third year, you continue focusing on your research, you finish your TA requirements, which is a great opportunity for students to experience supporting faculty in classrooms and engaging with other students in the BME department. On year 4, continue your research and start your thesis proposal. And then on year 5, you conclude your research and do your thesis defense. So to continue a little bit more into detail with the curriculum requirements, if you are part of the master's and PhD portion to be considered a full-time student, you should be registered in at least 12 credits not in your last semester. In your last semester, you can, and considering the master's program is only a 30 credit program, you enroll in 12 credits for the 2 first semesters. In the last semester, you enroll in 6 credits, and then you can enroll in doctoral research to contain your full-time status. For PhD students, you are considered a full-time student if you're enrolled in a residence unit. For the qualification exam, some things that you would need to take into consideration are that a minimum of 3.2 GPA is required without counting your research credit grades, and students should not receive more than 2 Cs or below letter grades. If you take courses that are graded with pass or fail, those courses would not be counted towards your PhD requirements, so that's important to keep in mind. So the master's curriculum requirements, like I spoke a little bit earlier, is a total of 30 credits. You have required courses, which amount to 18 credits, and some of those courses would be BME 6003. You would also have to take 1 graduate level of applied math. You would have to take 4 BME graduate classes, 4,000 level or higher, and 2 semesters of the graduate seminar. Then you pass on to your technical electives, which is a total of 12 credits. The content should be BME related. You can take 3 courses in the C's department, 4,000 level or higher, and then you can take 1 4,000 level or higher elective outside of C's with your advisor's approval. You could also take up to 6 credits of master's research to be counted toward your MS degree. And all the courses above 4,000 level should be letter graded, like I mentioned before, to be able to count towards your degree. Then this is a master's sample schedule of how your semester is looking once you enter the MS PhD track. And like I mentioned, in your first and second semester, you're usually enrolled in 12 credits. And then by the third semester, you would be enrolled in technical electives. And if needed, you can enroll in BME 9500 for doctoral research to make up for the 12 credits to be considered a full-time student. For the PhD curriculum requirements, you would have to complete 30 credits beyond the master's requirements, and that would be 9 required courses where you have BME 6003, 2 graduate level math courses, 14,000 level or higher. And those math courses could be from applied math, it could be a statistics course, or it could be a biostatistics course within the BME department. You would need 2 semesters of the BME graduate seminar and 6 residence units, and 2 residence units from your MS would transfer to your PhD requirements. After that, you can do up to 21 credits from doctoral research, and you should always consult with your advisor to make sure that there are any other courses that would match your research interests that you might be able to take to count towards those 21 credits. So the doctoral qualifying exam, this is an exam that we offer in January of each year, so it only takes place once a year. And for you to be eligible to take the exam, you have had to complete it 30 credits, have a GPA above 3.2 without counting research grades. And the format of the exam is an oral portion of it, and you also have written evaluation of papers. A total of 2 papers are considered for the qualifying exam, and one of the papers have to be of math component. So we have some suggested courses that you can take prior to applying for the qualifying exam to graduate levels of math courses. Like I mentioned, there's a math component to the test, so it's helpful to have those courses already completed. BME 4001, 4002, and 6003, and any other courses as you enter conversations with your advisors. And it's always good to be in contact with your advisor, even as you're thinking of applying for the qualifying exam. And then for your MPhil requirements, the MPhil is a master's in philosophy, which you would be getting once you complete your PhD requirements. So for that, you would need a 3.2 GPA, 30 credits above the master's degree. You would have to have completed your qualifying exam, completed your 6 residence units, and your 2 terms of TA. All of this are requirements of the PhD program. And now I'll pass it along to Ryan, but please feel free to keep adding questions to the Q&A and we'll cover them as we go.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan. I'm a third-year PhD candidate in Dr. Correa's lab, and I'm also president of GoBME. So just to tell you a bit more about us, if you mind going to the next slide, Rosa. We are a pretty big group, and we cater primarily to the graduate students of biomedical engineering, and we fall under the Engineering Student Council group. So as Professor Khan mentioned, the BME department, we can consider the family, and I'd say the best department and the best family at Columbia. But also we are part of the greater engineering community. And I'll talk a bit more about other groups, affinity and departmental groups that we also collaborate with. But this is our student boards, and if you join us, you could be part of this board. So go ahead, Rosa. So as I mentioned, the goal of our group is to cater to the graduate students of biomedical engineering at Columbia. And we host a variety of different events. We have social events, bringing together both uptown and downtown campuses. So as Professor Cam mentioned, although Columbia is split between 3 campuses, Morningside, Manhattanville, and Medical, approximately, I'd say 50% of the BME labs are either located in the Medical campus and the Morningside campus. So we cater to both campuses individually and bring them together. We have a few outreach events. For instance, we typically go through a park cleanup, oftentimes St. Nicholas Park or Morningside parks, 2 parks very close to Columbia, and beautiful parks to go and walk around during the daytime. And as I mentioned, we're also part of a larger community where there's many other organizations, and we typically host events with these organizations. For instance, with mechanical engineering students, electrical. So just going back and emphasizing the fact that when you join Columbia and join the BME community, you're not only going to be very close to the faculty in the BME department, but you're also going to get to meet students from all across the engineering school and also Columbia in general. Next slide, please, Rosa. So yeah, as I mentioned, we have a few philanthropical, I guess, outreach events such as park cleanups. We also engage in a lot of outreach catered towards high school students. We always participate in Girls Science Day that happens twice a year. We also provide support for qualifying exam preparation, fellowships, etc. And more slides. And lastly, yeah, feel free to follow us on Instagram with the link down below. And we're really excited to have you join us next year. And that's it from me. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ying Xu. I'm the Assistant Director at Graduate Admissions Office. It's really happy to meet you all here. So today I'm going to give you some insights about our application process. Next slide, please. So first, I would like to talk about our application deadlines. So as you all see that our application for 2026 application cycle has been open, and our deadlines do vary based on the program and degree type. If you are applying for the spring 2026, the deadline is around the corner, which is October 15th. And in general, we recommend that the students who wish to apply for the fall 2026 begin their application now and submitting them by the mid-December. And our website has more detailed information on these deadlines based on which program our students wish to apply. And for the doctoral program, the application deadline for fall 2026 is December 15th. And on the presentation, you may see that we mentioned 2 types of the programs. One is MS PhD, the other one is PhD. So what is MS PhD? It's actually a track. If you are a student who only have a bachelor degree, and you would like to apply for our PhD program. So you need to apply for the MS PhD track. And if you already got a master's, you can go ahead and apply for the PhD. There is no difference when we review your application. And submitting your application for consideration early may give you more chances of acceptance and more time to prepare for the transition to the graduate school. But remember, however, space will be available for all the regular deadlines. The strength of your application matters the most. And when you apply, do not apply for more than one program at Columbia Engineering. So if you do so, for example, if you apply for BME and you also apply for mechanical engineering, if you apply for the programs two at the same time, then your application will be invalidated. Next slide, please. Let's talk about our admission requirement. So first, you will be asked to submit an online application. And after that, the students will need to provide the transcripts, 3-letter recommendations, resume, personal statements, and test scores. So for the English proficiency, we accept one of the exams from TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, or PTE. So please send at least one if you are an international student or your undergraduate institution was not, your undergraduate instructions was not in English. And the GRE is optional for 2026 applicants. You are welcome to submit it, but there is no penalty if you don't. So, and there is no minimum score requirement for the standardized test option or GPA. I see one student asked the question in the Q&A session about the transcript. So we will consider your academic background or foundational coursework because they can speak to your qualification. So it's okay if you don't decide to submit GRE. And for the MS, PhD, or PhD candidates, you might receive an in-person interview request after submitting your application. If you receive it, please be in mind that the interview will be on campus. Some students ask if I submit my test score after the deadline, is there any penalty whether my application will be denied, or if my recommendations are coming late, what will happen? So we usually allow the students to submit those materials later, but we highly suggest no later than 2 weeks of the deadline, because we won't start reviewing your application until your application is completed. And prepare early to ensure your application materials are submitted before the deadline is really important. Next slide, please. And we also get a lot of questions about funding options for the graduate school. On this slide, you can see for our master's students, most of them are primarily self-funded. But for our PhD students, you guys will be fully funded by us. And the funding will cover your, you can see the expenses listed on this slide as well. It will cover your tuition, health insurance expenses, facility fees, and also, other fees related to your PhD study on campus. And the funding will provided through your TA or RA experiences. And sometimes, however, we do recommend our PhD students to apply for external funding opportunities if you can find the opportunity around you. Next slide, please. So now I'd like to transition into our student life. Here at Columbia Engineering, we are really serious about our academics, but we also really value, building the community here among our students, faculty, and staff. So we hope you are engaged, stay connected, and also leading a very happy, healthy, and productive graduate student life. Next slide, please. So like your undergraduate student experiences, the graduate students also participate in a lot of student organizations. And on this slide, you can see we have groups focusing on industry or research, as well as some interest-based clubs. And if you don't find any club you are interested, you can even create your own. So we fully support you to create your own club. And we encourage everyone to join one or more of these groups. We believe it really enhances the graduate experiences. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have many student organizations on campus for you to get involved in. So some examples also include the Engineering Graduate Student Council. We call it EGSC, which serves as a student government. And also we have an association called the Society of Women Engineers, geared towards women in STEM. Next slide, please. So our graduate student wellness team is doing a great job to enhance our student life on campus. So they take a multifaceted approach to help our students. So you can see here the dimensions of student health they include in the wellness program. And this is largely focused on your well-being. They offer things like yoga instruction, stress management workshops, among other useful tools to assist you in achieving the balance during your time here as a graduate student. And we also host really fun activities for our graduate students. So we host and support many socials to help our students to get to know each other through those social settings. And you can see some of the pictures from the past events here. Next slide, please. So our ESA group take our students to do a lot of fun trips in Manhattan, in New York City. For example, we organize trips to Broadway shows, to the sporting events, and other social events, both on and off campus. Next slide, please. Okay, I think that's all from my part. If you have any questions regarding the admission process, don't hesitate to reach out to us through this email, csgrad@meet@columbia.edu. And we also host a lot of information sessions, like we will host application workshops, the office hours, and also a student one-on-one if you want to connect with one of our student ambassadors. So just don't hesitate to reach out to us if you meet any difficulty or have any questions during your application. So now I'm going to pass the mic to Rosa.
Thank you, Ying. Yes, so here you have different ways in which you can connect with us. If your preference is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, we have it all. So just make sure that you see our usernames for those. And then in this slide at the bottom, you can also see an email in which you can reach out to us, bme@columbia.edu. So we're going to be answering questions now, but if by any chance across today, nothing comes to mind now, but later on tomorrow, you wake up with a question in your mind, you just email us here and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible with a response. So let me stop sharing my screen so we can go ahead and cover any questions submitted to the Q&A. Okay. Okay, we have a few questions. I see here. with a bachelor in engineering, biomedical engineering, and electrical engineering. Do I need to evaluate my academic transcript before applying for the PhD program? I think Ying covered this question in her portion, if I'm not mistaken. Like she mentioned, we use your transcript not only to check your GPA, but also to see your academic background. I don't know if you want to say more, Lance, regarding that, or.
No, that's right. We do sort of holistic evaluation of the applications. We look for a match between the research laboratories. You folks really are entering a more personal mentoring kind of a, interaction. This really is a hallmark. You start really forming a relationship with the PI. And so the faculty are heavily involved in looking at the whole person coming in through the application. We do need accurate transcripts. We need official ones, I believe, because we know that is a big part of the application, but it's not the only part. There's letters, there's reaching out to faculty in advance to find out what are we working on. Are we bringing in new students in certain projects in the coming year? These are all fair things to ask in advance during these couple of months leading up to the applications. It'll give you an idea of what we're working on. And equally important is an important piece of figuring out, is Columbia BME the right place for you? So encourage you to reach out in advance to the faculty to have those kind of things that will augment your application.
And also, if I can just add to that, just as a reminder that the BME program at Columbia is direct admissions, which is a few universities across the US have that, where you are directly matched with a PI in a lab. So what Professor Cam is saying, that it's worth reaching out ahead of time and knowing whether the professor in the lab is looking to take in a student, because you will be applying directly to join a professor, and that will be also looked at during your application process. So if you're applying to a lab that is not looking to take in any students, you have less of a chance of getting matched. Although you might always still get an invitation to come and interview and meet other faculty during the interview week, which has happened in the past.
Thank you. I see we have another question. Is PhD program in biomedical engineering fully funded? Is there any opportunities to attend conference during PhD program? So like Ying mentioned in her section, it is fully funded for PhD students. And I do believe you have the freedom to attend conferences throughout your studies, right? And I don't know if you've had experience regarding this, being able to attend other conferences and events related to biomedical engineering, but I believe that's no issue.
Yes, definitely. And there's two avenues to go about this. On one side, you have your laboratory's funding, where professors usually encourage their students to go to conferences. Obviously, depends on the state of your research. If you haven't done much progress, you have nothing really to talk about, there's less likely a chance of you to go to attend a conference to present. But it's typically part of the PhD journey. And also there's a lot of internal funding mechanisms and external funding mechanisms to apply to and get these sort of travel grants, right? Where let's say, there's a conference happening, I don't know, in Paris or Seoul in Korea, and you're like, it'd be great to go. There's a bunch of mechanisms you can apply to, which will increases your chances basically of telling your professor, hey, I want to go to this conference. It's going to cost X amount of money, but I have funding for that. So yes, you definitely will attend. And also there's a lot of questions keep on asking about the funding. And I'm guessing a lot of it is due to the recent funding situations and cuts in the US. But yes, the Professor Cam can add on to this, but the BME department is very committed to take care of the PhD students. And if you are in the program, you are fully funded and you would not have any issues with this.
Absolutely. It comes with funding through the TA and RA positions. Another thing that is possible to do is apply for your own independent funding as well. There are several mechanisms for this. Some of these are federal, NSF, NIH. Some of these are private ones. Again, these are not required that you go out and get these, but they do give you some additional freedom, and they certainly help strengthen your record when you're looking for what happens post-graduation over here. And we have a pretty good record in supporting students in earning these various mechanisms, including the GRFP and the F-31 mechanisms for the U.S. citizens.
Thank you. I do see another question that you may have covered as well in terms of the transcripts. If they have to be official by the time the students are applying, I believe they have to be, right, Yoon?
Actually, no. So by the time they submit application, they can submit the copy of their transcripts. So as long as the transcript is written in English. Some students may ask whether they need to those transcripts need to be evaluated by some official like WES. It's not required, but it's also okay if you decide to do it. And the official transcript is only required after you get admitted, before your enrollment, before you start registering your class for the new semester, you need to submit your official transcript, and we will do an evaluation by then again.
Thank you so much. So glad that we have you here to clarify. Okay. This question is just, do current US visa bans influence how the admissions committee evaluates Iranian students? I appreciate any insight. Thank you. I do know that the Office of International Students and Scholars Office is a great resource that international students can tap into from the moment that they're admitted to the university all throughout the process of getting them here in the US. So that is a resource that you are going to have to support you throughout the process, either by acquiring visas or any other procedure or paperwork that you might have to complete to actually come to the university. Okay. Is funding guaranteed? We covered this already. It is guaranteed for PhD students. Is there an application fee waiver? We do have a fee waiver for all the students or guests, attendees in this info session. So if you attended, we will be offering a fee waiver for your application. Are candidates coming from specific backgrounds preferred over others? I have a background in dentistry, but I'm currently pursuing a master's in biomaterial sciences and clinical research. If any course deficits are identified, could they be fulfilled via the department? Lance, do you mind covering this one?
Yeah, we welcome applications from all areas, be it research, cultural. I mean, we're really focused on trying to find solutions, health to help humanity. The biggest thing to consider is we are 30 faculty. It's a good size, but that doesn't allow us to cover every area of research. What you would like to do for both the laboratory and for your own this decision on is or fit, take a look at the research going on in the laboratories, see if this is something you want to work on. That fit really is the most important. You don't have to have the background specifically for that kind of research. We all understand this is part of the training, but what are you bringing to it? What perspective are you bringing? What was your previous studies about? If that's already aligned with the laboratory, fantastic. If not, see how it can come together. And then some of these questions going as well. Should I reach out in advance? Yes, please reach out to the faculty in advance. This will help you decide really are we the right fit for it. And that communication is extremely useful. As Ryan said, we do a direct match. It's extremely useful in the process.
Thank you. In the MS PhD track, are you placed directly into a lab, or do you rotate through different labs and then choose which to conduct your research?
This is the direct match process. So at the time where we have an interview week that happens like in early February. By that point, we have some ideas of some matches. This is shortly after that offers will go out, and in those offers we will detail which laboratories this matched with. A few students do rotations. If we have a situation or where multiple PIs are interested in the same student, or students interested in multiple PIs, we do occasionally have rotations, but those really are not the norm. It's not formalized as in some other programs where you spend your first year rotating through different laboratories. We'd prefer you really become part of the research from that point. We aim for a 5-year program, and that goes by a lot faster than you may think. So we like to get started earlier.
Yeah. And yes, like Professor Lance Cam mentioned earlier, it is great if you can reach out to PIs prior to applying. See that question.
Sorry, Rosa, I do see a few questions about specific fields in the program in BME and whether said field is a good fit for the PhD program. Most of them are. I see some questions about biomechanics, about AI and imaging, electrophysiology and neuroscience. We do, and I encourage you to go back to the faculty website and go into details of those labs and reach out to them and see what research they do. But yes, we do cover at least most of the topics I've seen come up. And also there's the question of publication. I believe this is PI dependent. Some PIs expect more publications, and it also depends on the field you are in, right? Certain labs that are mainly computational are able to publish more and quicker than labs that are more wet lab side of things, where an experiment might take you up to a year. But I believe it's part of the graduation requirement to at least have one first author paper. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cam.
That's correct. I mean, publications, as far as the time of application is concerned, in all of your applications, lead with your strengths. We understand that for many places you don't have the opportunity to be involved in primary research as an undergraduate or master's. Lead with your strengths. What did you do in terms of that program there? Did we do a holistic match? And the different strengths will really paint a different picture of who we're considering.
I did see a student that mentioned that he was an undergrad interested in applying, and if you do apply, then you would have to go through the MS PhD track as an undergrad. Do the letters of recommendation need to respond any specific questions or any requirements to consider for this?
We don't have any specific questions that need to be answered there. We don't send out a template for them to with specific things to answer in the body of the question itself. I mean, there is a form that goes with it. It's pretty general. Most of the schools do ask this, but we don't have any particular topics in there. I mean, in general, they should show familiarity with you, emphasize your strengths. These are really the things that we're looking at.
Thank you. I see a question regarding the application opening soon. Do you have any information on that, Ian, in terms of should the application be open already?
Yeah, the application has been already opened.
Okay, thank you. Let's see.
I see a question about interest of change from mechanical engineering to biomechanics and biomaterials. Congratulations. Do we have faculty members working in those areas? In many different organ systems, we have a lot of our initial faculty was focused on bone biomechanics. Ed Guo, Clark Hung works on cartilage. Helen Liu works on connective tissue. All the mechanics feature very heavily into those. Barclay Morrison is looking at traumatic brain injury. So how do different kind of forces interact with biochemistry in the process of brain damage? I work at the more cellular level, immune cells, how do they respond to mechanical cues from the environment? So we have a lot of different variations of biomechanics, biomaterials, and mechanobiology, and how these all fit together. I encourage you to look at our faculty websites, or you can reach out to me. I can help you navigate which faculty may be most aligned with your interests.
Thank you. And also I see a question of the GRE, if it's required for the program. It's not required, but you can add your test course if you want to the application. I see a question regarding needing a supervisor to recommend you for admission. You don't need a recommendation from a supervisor. You would need recommendation letters in your application, but you should be able to apply to the program. Ryan, there's a question regarding, can we reach out to the student organization to get help for the statement of purpose? Is this something that you have helped prospective students with before through GoBME?
We have not. And I want to be careful to say yes and get flooded with emails regarding this. But you know, we are here to help support current students, but you can feel free to reach out to me. But obviously there's a level of assistance and bias that I'm going to have to respect when it comes to how much I can help you to get into the program specifically.
Yeah, and I believe Ying mentioned that the admissions office has workshops and more info sessions coming up. So that is a resource that you can definitely tap into for support. So please reach out to the admissions office before reaching out to Ryan.
Yeah, we list all our application, workshops, office hours information on the event page. So just go check out our website.
Oh, I see a question. Is it possible to apply to 2 programs in the same department? So a master's in BME and a PhD in BME with the same concentration. So if you're an undergraduate student and you're interested in the PhD, you would have to do the MS PhD track either way. And if your academic goals are only to get a master's degree, then that's where I would say just apply to the master's degree. But you would have to do a master's regardless if you're an undergraduate student to be able to have your PhD degree.
And just to add on that, if you apply for the MS PhD track, you may get 2 chances, because if you're not qualified for the PhD, we may ask you whether you would like to be considered a master's degree. And some of students, apply for MS PhD, ended up with the master admission at the end.
Thank you.
A question on biophysics and cellular electrophysiology in neuroscience. Again, right, the right question to be asking is BME PhD a great fit? I would encourage you to look at the research of Chi Wang, and also Barclay Morrison. They would probably be best aligned to your interests. A question about 5 years technical experience in clinical engineering. Does my experience count towards the BME, towards the PhD process? It's considered in the application. I mean, again, lead with your strengths. Experience. We get experiences from all different areas of life, right? So lead with that in your application. Does it count towards the requirements of the PhD itself? That would be no. these what we have is completely independent. It's research, it's credits, courses here. Um, uh, uh, so again, work that into the application.
I see a student ask, sorry, I missed the information. Just want to double check that it's not recommended to apply to multiple PhD program in Colombia. So our policy is you cannot apply for 2 programs at the same time in Columbia engineering, but it's okay if you apply, if your applications are in 2 different schools. For example, you apply one for Columbia engineering, another one in School of Arts and Science, that would be okay.
Thank you, Ying.
I also see a question regarding the recommendation letters. This is from James Lee. For the recommender section, in the application, it asks to specify the type of recommendation, academic versus professional. If the recommender was my former employer, professor at an academic lab, which one should I list them as? Yeah, I think you can list this professor as the academic recommendation. So basically, we ask students to provide basically 3 recommendations letters are required, but the students actually can submit up to 4 recommendation letters. And for our 3 recommendation requirement, we ask everybody submit at least 2 are from the academic side. If you work, you also have any work experience, you can submit 1 professional recommendation letter. But for students who have worked for more than 5 years, it's okay to submit more than maybe 2 professional recommendations.
Ying, there's a question about English. So there seems to be a student who graduated from Nigeria, and since Nigeria, the main language of education is English, they're asking if they would require a TOEFL to apply.
Yeah, I think based on my knowledge, Nigeria students is not required for taking any English proficiency exam. But I'll double check quickly and give you the confirmation.
Yes, this info session is gonna be recorded, and we'll upload it to our YouTube. So you can definitely go back. We have a second round of info sessions taking place on November 10th, at 11 a.m. So if you want a second round of all this useful information, another chance to send us your questions and you're available, you can also participate in that info session. The information should be listed in our website for you to register.
There's a question on there about the MS PhD track and reaching out in advance for both the PhD direct and the MS PhD track. It is encouraged that you reach out to professors in advance. Again, this is a great way to find out what are we working on, and that's an important piece of the match for both directions on this. So, yeah, so please reach out.
Yeah, just double checked. Students from Nigeria don't need submit the English proficiency exam. And our policy, I can read our policy to all of our attendees. So applicants who earn their undergraduate degree in a country other than Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Singapore, the UK, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and the United States must submit an official score from an approved English language proficiency exam.
Okay. Is interdisciplinary research across departments in different schools at Columbia also encouraged?
Very heavily. I mean, this is New York. We have a lot of talent in one place, and one of the really nice things about being in a crowded place like this, you run into people in the hallways. You talk, and this really facilitates the interactions, sharing ideas. My direction of research when I initially came to Columbia was in neuroscience, making networks of neurons and things. And it was in talking in the hallways here, coffee shops, this kind of a thing, that we migrated a lot of our work towards immune cells and T cells in particular, using a lot of techniques from different fields to address this in new ways. And it's really at that intersection that some of the coolest stuff happens. And so, yes, across departments, we have ways of facilitating those interactions. Most of them are pretty informal, structurally at least. You have a home department. That really is the best way to do it, and collaborate with people in other departments. Ryan could probably provide a different perspective on this.
I mean, I agree with what Professor Kam is saying, and I think the BME department, because just going back to the word, we really are sort of like a big academic family. Interdisciplinary work and collaboration is very common. It's also, in my case, very common that among the cohort. So someone asked about application sizes for the PhD program. We are usually we have been growing, but on average, I'd say we are 30-ish, 35 applicants a year, part of a cohort. So we are a big cohort of students, and we definitely there's a lot of events, as Ying mentioned, a lot of the first few months actually at Columbia, there's a lot of events that are catered to forming connections between students from all across the departments and within your department. So it's very common that, you might be speaking with someone in your cohort about an idea. There's a lot of BME events where you might speak face to face with a professor. I have had chances in which I went straight up to a professor who I knew was working in a space that I was interested in, maybe helping them getting into. And I was like, hey, like I'm working in this lab. This is who I am. What do you think about a potential collaboration? So there's a lot of space to move around and talk and engage with the faculty and with other students, which in my opinion allows for this more collaborative environment in the BME departments.
Thank you both. Regarding the application fee waiver, we'll reach out to you after the info session. If you're an anonymous attendee and you did not use an email to log into this info session, feel free to email us at bme@columbia.edu. This is a very useful email. I saw another question in terms of, can you share your email info? You can always go to our website, and there you can also gather our emails, but that bme@columbia.edu is a general email many of us have access to, so we can definitely address your questions. And if we can't do that, we'll definitely redirect you to the person that would be able to.
I see some students ask how this application fee is waived. I think this is really important for our attendees. First of all, if you registered but you don't attend, you won't get the application fee waived. So you have to be attended, and your status need to be marked as attended. Then you will get this application fee waived. The whole process is automatic. So once you start the application for 2026 application cycle, your application fee will be removed automatically. But for students who have already paid the application fee, unfortunately, we cannot refund it.
Thank you, Ying.
I believe there's a question about someone who is coming from a country that does not have English proficiency exam waived, but they completed their master's at a US institution. I believe that completing a higher education at an English institution, especially US institution, counts, is proof of English proficiency. Right, Ying?
Yes, it is right.
I know we're at time. It's 11 already. Any other questions you might want to cover, Lance or Ryan Ying, before we finalize the info session? I think we covered a lot of them. I see one in terms of what to do if a professor doesn't respond. You can follow up with another email, or you can email us at bme@columbia.edu with any questions in terms of application processes and faculty.
Yes, and regarding GoBME, you can email us at gobme.columbia@gmail.com. And we'll try to provide whatever support that's reasonable from our behalf. But please feel free to reach out to the BME department email that Rosa plugged in, as well as the application email that Ying mentioned. Because a lot of my doubts about language and tests were answered to me by the admission office directly.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We'll finalize the info session here, but like we said, please reach out to the admissions office at csgradadmit@columbia.edu for any questions regarding admissions and application process. And then you can use the bme@columbia.edu email to reach out to the BME department directly for any questions regarding requirements, curriculum, or anything else that comes to mind. We have a second session taking place on November 10th. If you're available and you can join us for that as well, that would be great. It's always good to refresh your memory of all the information we shared today. I know it's a lot to take in. Feel free to make use of our website as a resource too. And we're very excited to see you all apply and hopefully be admitted to the university and be a part of our BME family. So thank you so much also to Ying, Ryan, and Professor Cam for joining the info session. And we'll see you hopefully at the university, and if not, in our next info session. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.